Good evening, and welcome to SanAntonio FC Fancast. I am the host, not necessarily with the most, but I think I'm there. Joining me tonight, Mr. USL, highlighted prominently on, I believe it was the intro of the USL big CBS intro, I believe it was. Mr. Rafa. Oh, go ahead, Jonathan. Do you got something to say?
I'm just thinking it may have been like something at halftime. Tomato.
Was it halftime? I don't remember. All I know is I was like, that's Rafa, and it's all over our chat. And then I think the other one was Jason, right? If memory serves me right.
Jason. Jason was next to me.
Jason with the point through their hair. So, Robert, maybe if you aren't, vice president of the Agudelo fan club, could have been you, but it went to Rafa. Rafa, how are you? Hopefully you're doing okay this evening.
I'm doing all right. Just ready for some days off and on a new laptop. So hopefully everyone can hear me and no audio issues. So hopefully it's that, and just waiting for USO to send me my NIL money for my video.
And then the SAFC Traveler, not necessarily the goal scorer, but maybe they could have used him on the pitch with the way SAFC ended the year. Mr. Jonathan Check, how are you, sir? How are the holidays?
I'm doing fine. Holidays are fine. We decided today we will be doing a turkey this year. In some past years, we've gone the easy route and done like turkey sandwiches with sliced turkey. I'm like, hey, it's you're keeping the big Thanksgiving main dish in there, just doing it in a much easier way. But we are doing a real turkey this year, so all right, bring it on. Leftovers for days.
Oh, there is something that I do have to bring up with you, Jonathan. This past weekend, Newcastle. What, you can't hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Oh,
go on.
Rafa signaled to us here. Newcastle, I believe, I know my son was upset, defeated the mighty Manchester City 2-1. So any thoughts on the game? I know from Man City's perspective, the second goal, a little questionable, but I thought it was a great goal. But obviously I'm rooting for Newcastle, and when Royce shows up, we have to talk about Everton getting a red card on Everton crime today here. And then Rafa, Club America, are they still in it? Did Rafa freeze?
Oh, he started so well.
Oh, there he is. Can you hear us, Rafa?
Rafa.
Are you okay, Rafa? Oh, no, he's okay. Well, we'll come back to that. So we are going to get started with the USL playoffs. There has been a champion awarded, or championship won, I guess, not necessarily awarded. Went to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, who won 5-4 or 4-3 in PKs.
I think it was 5-3. I think it was 5-3. It was one of those situations where they went first, and because they made all 5 of theirs, Tulsa's 5th didn't even matter. So
yeah. So, but they ended up winning a 0-0 game, which wasn't surprising. Pittsburgh won the title without scoring a goal, I think, if memory serves me correct. Or they may have scored 1 goal the entire playoffs.
See,
I know their defense hadn't allowed a goal all playoffs, and same with Tulsa.
Yeah, so they scored one goal in the
once.
Eastern Conference Final And then everything else was penalty wins after scoreless draws. So if you're USL, gotta love all those goals they scored.
There's, if Mitch Tainer was on here, he'd be like, "Hey, the defense is great," but yeah, it was a tough watch. In all fair to Tulsa Mario, what's up? Great season for FC Tulsa. I was rooting for you guys to pull it out. Unfortunately, Pittsburgh goalkeeper had the one save, and that was the difference in the tight game for that here. There's two stories from here. One in two finals, two leagues, two very different endings. Are you back, Rafa? Rafa, are you back?
I guess not.
This is what happens when we start the show without. But USL Players Association put out two finals, two leagues, two very different endings. One through there, and then how the title was awarded to Pittsburgh. Came up with League One with the nice board that we had behind us. And then with the championship, no official presentation. I will say this, that to be fair to USL Championship, it was on big CBS. CBS had a big football game, USC versus Oregon, that this led into. And with it doing the 30 minutes of extra time, with it going to PKs, you could tell they were scrambling to try to get some sort of title trophy presentation. And it was a disaster. It was jinxed. But, to me, the biggest difference, one's a home team, one is an away team. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. I do think USL Championship has to be better on it. Put it up, not necessarily rush it for CBS, because if you can't get it in, cannot get it on to there, if you can't get it on the airtime, you could have always had the trophy presentation awarded on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel. Could have switched over there. You could have had Mike Watts, Devin Kerr say, "Hey, we're going to award the championship on YouTube. Transition over there if you want to watch." Next up is, Oregon, USC, the college football match. Could have been handled a whole lot better. But you could just tell that it was a shit show. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Royce, you're joining us. How are you doing?
Oh, not Royce too.
Rafa, you back?
Oh, okay. Now we hear Rafa. That's
progress.
Yeah, I'm
back.
I
think it was my headphones that thing died out, so I just had to go to my regular audio.
So, first of all, welcome, Rafa. We'll bypass the EPL and other stuff here. Your thoughts on, or actually, Jonathan, since you've been here, your thoughts on the title and the differences in how the championships were awarded between League One and the championship?
Yeah, in terms of the match itself, I kind of gave the teams the benefit of the doubt in the first half. Like, okay, there were some decent moments. Like, we're kind of just waiting for something to happen. And then as it went on, it was kind of like, okay, we have to deal with another 45 minutes of this and then another 30 minutes. Kind of like, all right, just skip to penalties. That's where this is obviously going. There were, I will say, there were some chances. There could have been goals scored in that game, but not the best finishing touch. For it to be awarded on penalties is unfortunate because Tulsa, if I'm not mistaken, didn't concede their entire playoff run either.
Nope.
So these were two
They did not.
very defensively strong teams. It's really a shame that it had to end that way. I hope Tulsa takes this and tries to say, okay, this needs to be the foundation for next season, because we've seen, I mean, Tulsa's been around since SAFC joined the USL. I think possibly joined the same year, maybe the year before. And every sort of 4 years, they put together a really good campaign. They've got a solid team, at least in the regular season, and this year it translated into the playoffs. But then those next 3 years, they tend to kind of fall off. In some cases, they've been, as they were even saying on the broadcast, a wooden spoon team. So I hope that they're able to maintain this, and I hope that it's not just on the field, but that they get the kinds of attendances, the kinds of interest that they got in the playoffs. In the regular season, they're maybe getting, a few thousand people in the stands. They were getting packed houses throughout the playoffs. And, it certainly helps when you can say, hey, regardless of what happens, we're going to keep winning. You guys keep showing up. Sounds like a great arrangement, right? So unfortunately, thousands of people had to go home sad on Saturday. As far as the different trophy presentations, you said a lot of what I was kind of talking about earlier too in the group chat, how it was probably just, okay, we need to have the trophy somewhere on the broadcast before we cut it. And if you notice, we actually, I don't know if it was the same on every provider, but we have YouTube TV, and we noticed they budgeted an extra, half hour.
Minutes.
Yeah, it was supposed to go until 1:30 in the afternoon. So, they had room for a little extra. But when you have extra time and then penalties, you're just doing what you can to try and get it done quickly. I wouldn't be so disappointed if they had maybe given them the trophy, let them, do some celebration, get the cameras there to capture it, and then say, okay, now let's do the formal presentation for your fans here in the stadium. I think we also mentioned, some of this might be, okay, it's the visiting team anyway. It's not their home crowd here, so maybe they use that as an excuse. But excuse is kind of a negative reason, not just a legitimate reason, I would say. So it's disappointing that they didn't do what every other team gets, pretty much. I mean, I think someone even showed the League Two champions get the big banner and everything.
Yep.
So it's disappointing for Pittsburgh. Like I said, though, I would rather win the final and not get that board than lose the final. I mean, the important thing is they've got the star above their crest. They changed their Twitter or X bio to 2025 USL Championship winners. I mean, that's the most important thing. At the end of the day, it's a minor gripe, or I think at least it should be. The important thing is they got the job done, even though the margins were this thin.
To answer your question on Tulsa Roughnecks / FC Tulsa 2015, so the year before.
I was gonna come in with that.
Royce,
Yeah.
Welcome. Hopefully you're doing well. Any thoughts on the championship before we move? I'll also throw this into here. For this will be kind of a discussion. I would love to see if we can maybe get Mitch Tainer on. I'll see if we can reach out to him, or if we have to reach out through SAFC to talk about the USLPA versus USLHQ. Just a little bit of where some of this angst is coming from is the what is it called?
Players Association Collective Bargaining Agreement.
The collective bargaining agreement expires next week, the 30th. And so far, I'm assuming negotiations aren't going well based on USLPA's responses for that here. They put out a promotion on how the supporters group stood with the players. Players walked out with specific shirts, which the league and CBS, they showed it briefly but didn't really show them. To be fair, and this is not a criticism to Kerr or Watts, they didn't really address it, and I understand it's a league broadcast, so I understand why they're not trying to do it. But the other issue out of this is USL Player Association versus USLHQ. Royce, welcome. You can either talk championship, how the two finals are presented, and the upcoming Lager players dispute with the league, or whatever you want to call it.
I guess I'll start first with watching the USL final. Really cool, again, to see USL featured on terrestrial CBS. But wasn't it the most ironic thing that we've had to watch this SAFC club this entire season not score goals? And then we got to watch the USL final where literally nobody scores a goal. I think that was just chef's kiss, cherry on top of this whole season. No, congrats to Pittsburgh. Really cool. I hope they give Bob Lilly his propers because he did put that club together. But no, congrats to them and their fan base. I enjoyed the game that I went to out there. Cool stadium, cool atmosphere. And once again, SAFC defeats the eventual champion of that season. But we can't beat anybody else. So very interesting, interesting tidbit there. About the CBA, you hope the league and the Players Association get their crap together. And yeah, we definitely should reach out to Mitch. Mitch seems like he's one of the captains, I guess, of the Players Association. Just to kind of go over, give him a platform to kind of talk about everything. And I think do a little production meeting right now. I think we should probably try to do that for Sunday because Sunday is the day all the contracts expire, correct? So, yep.
But Mitch is re-signed, though. We'll get to that here.
Correct. But I'm just saying the CBA and the contracts expire on Sunday. So,
yeah, I'm sure that won't be a busy day at all.
No, not at all. No. While we're doing the potential interview, he definitely won't be on the phone waiting for the league to call and.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all.
I actually think having it after the 30th is more ideal because
it's fair.
Because I think before the 30th, we'll most likely have to go through SAFC.
Yeah.
After the 30th, we'll still probably try to reach out to SAFC. Don't get me wrong, but technically, if they're locked out, it might be easier to get him on board at that point. But
that's fair.
Through here, so. Through that, Rafa, I know you're bouncing in and out, playing volleyball, going back and forth here. Any thoughts before we move on to the main topic of should they stay or should they go? Kind of our grading system for 2025.
Just congrats to Pittsburgh. I mean, like I said, I think they weren't expected to win, but kudos to them. Like I said, defense wins championships. I think that's something they've been known for, like I said. And so hopefully Bob Lilly, whatever issues they have, why they have that administrative leave, I mean, this is his title too, so he deserves it. Like I mentioned about being, building this team. So kudos to them, and we'll see what happens next year.
And real quick, before we move on from the championship, from the game, can we give big propers? And I hope he won MVP of the game. I don't know if there is an MVP trophy, right, of the final. It's got to be Eric Dix, right?
He was.
Yeah. Unbelievable goalkeeper performance. Just incredible.
He did a good job. He made the one save. That's all you can say for that here. So we're going to move on to our version of grading SAFC. We're not going to go into, A, B, C's or D's or anything like that. It's going to be more, hey, do we want them back for next year? Do we think that they've earned their spot, per us? For amateurs, obviously, SAFC is going to be doing their own views of what they think will happen. Or who should come back, who shouldn't. But we are going to try to do that. And through here. So we're going to go in order of the San Antonio FC roster page. So if you want to follow along, we can do that. Matthew, welcome to the show. Hopefully you're doing well.
Matthew, no, let him go. Goodbye. See you later. Gamez. Bye-bye. Oh, wait. No, it's just a team. I'm sorry.
Hey, you should be happy. Oh, we should. Well, I was. You missed the EPL talk, but we have to bring it up here.
Fucking Toffees. What a result.
Matt, how do you lose to a 10-man Everton team at home, and the red card was Everton on Everton, hands to the face?
I'm an SAFC fan. I mean, I'm used to it. It doesn't fucking matter.
Sure.
It's the same shit. My SAFC had chances where they didn't fucking win against 10 men. I'm used to it. We're great.
I will say, fun fact, Everton with that game is the first team in the Premier League era to win at Old Trafford while going down a man. First team to do it in the Premier League started in the early 90s, so pretty crazy little fact there.
And I will say thank you to the Everton player that decided that he didn't want to play against Newcastle, because with that red card, not only did he leave the game 13th minute against Man United, he will miss at least the Newcastle game because of the red cards.
And the funny part is Harry actually thinks they stand a chance against Everton even without Idrissa Gana Gueye. So very funny, very funny. Newcastle sucks.
Well,
I know. Everton's still going to win. It's going to be funny.
It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, that's what Man City thought too. But let's get going here so that way we don't have a Harry show and we have a Roy show. Abdi Salim. Let me look at his numbers. 7 appearances, 3 starts, 257 minutes, and 2 yellow cards here. 20. He's a young center back. To me, he came in late, right? In June.
About to say mid-season.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not too late. He just didn't get much playing time, honestly.
I didn't think he played bad.
He had a pretty couple high-profile mistakes, but this is the classic player that is kind of a spot starter or kind of a backup, lower on the roster guy. You need these guys on your team. No team is just going to have the same 11 or same 18 the entire season. You need these kind of guys. Is he the worst backup center back we've ever had? Not by a long shot. He had, like you said, plenty of playing time. He made mistakes, sure, but he was pretty competent. Otherwise, he could probably be a starter in League One if he finds a job there. Then good on him. If he's still if he's still a championship player next season, I wouldn't mind re-signing him. But again, this is one of those classic. You sign him out of the training camp, or he's not one of your first signings. He's you're trying to fill out your roster, and you go look for a guy like Salim.
Jonathan's got him down as a first signing. It looked like here.
Well, I was just gonna say it's also, if I'm not mistaken, when SAFC signed him, maybe kind of a I don't want to say a panic signing, but signing where SAFC was suddenly like, we're feeling a little thin at this position. We need to add someone, and so they signed him, they added him. So I agree, he's very much depth. I wouldn't expect to see him starting a bunch of games unless he really takes a step up next year. And who knows, maybe being in the team from the start would give him a chance to really build the chemistry he needed, be more in sync, get more reps, learn more. But it's up in the air. He's not exactly at the top of the list, I'd say.
So, thoughts, Rafa, on bringing Salim back? Yay or nay? Rafa.
Good take, Rafa.
Solid. Just as many words as he's gotten in edgewise in the last 3 episodes combined. Nice work.
But at least as when he does speak, his mic comes through solid.
Yeah.
For that here. Matt, any thoughts on Salim coming back? Yay or nay?
Can I be a maybe? Because I'm not excited.
We're not doing a maybe. It's yes or no.
Uh,
If you had to bring him back, would he be somebody that you'd bring back?
no.
No? Okay. Jonathan?
You're really. I mean, I already talked about him.
But you didn't say yes or no. Would you
You're
bring
right.
him back?
I didn't, because again, it's a toss-up.
That's what I'm saying. I would be a maybe. I can't. It's from it. It's I don't.
Royce, you bringing him back? Yes or no?
No, he's a depth signing. You can always find other options in the depth. No.
Rafa, we're going to try you one more time. Salim, yes or no?
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, no, just do a thumb up or thumb down, Rafa, if you can hear us.
I think you can hear.
Not even a thumb. He
Let him
said,
go.
If you
Let
can
him
hear
go.
us,
oh, there
Rafa,
he is. Look at the guy. There's the
Let him
young
go.
man. Wow.
Like to me, he's a depth guy. He is young. That's the one positive thing that he has. He is 24.
Yeah,
but-
there's some internet issues that's popping up.
So, but to me, he's not somebody that I would bring back now. If you could bring it back, so I'm going to say no. Next up, Mitch Tainer. He is scheduled to return, and the reason why I say scheduled because he did sign a 2025 multi-year contract. However, as we've seen in the past, just because you sign a multi-year contract does not always mean that you will be back with a SAFC for that here. But I do believe that Captain Tainer will be returning. Is anybody disagree or have any thoughts on Mitchell Tainter, our captain and leader of men?
No shit, bring him back. Next. I don't even think we need to discuss this at all. No shit. Next.
Can I be devil's advocate?
Sure.
Retirement?
No.
I mean, he's under contract, so I guess it would have to be a mutual agreement with SAFC to not play out that
He
next
could
year.
retire, but
Yeah. I also think I'd be curious, especially since he's so vocal in the CBA discussions. We've seen a lot of guys retiring at the end of this year, and I wonder how many of them maybe felt like they could have played, but saw the writing on the wall, saw how much of an issue this was going to be, and said, you know what? I'm just going to move on to the next phase of my life. And for someone like Mitch, he's, I guess, saying, well, I'm under contract next year. I feel like I can keep doing this. So we'll see how it goes. I guess I'll fight this fight.
And I'm not praising on it or wishing for it, but I mean, you never know. That's the part that's scary. If you get what I'm saying, I definitely keep bringing it back. Yes, of course he's gonna come back, but that's just the part like to be optimistic about if it happens.
I will say the only concerning thing about Mitch, and this is not a negative, this is just, Father Time's undefeated. He lost about 3 to 4 games this year compared to his normal time frame that he normally plays as far as availability. So he might be somebody that you do need to maybe rotate a little bit more along those lines going forward for that here. So that would be the only thing that I might throw a little bit of caution. But no, Mitch is coming back. Next, Nelson Flores Blanco. He, I think, will be an interesting discussion. 16 matches played, 14 starts, 1,100 minutes, 3 yellow cards, no goals, no assists. I know some in the fan base that I've talked to were not very happy about Nelson Blanco compared to the year before. He had a connection, 2024 with Jorge, and this year it did not seem like he had that same connection. Yes, Rafa, we can hear you. Nelson Flores Blanco, Rafa, yes or no? Okay, test.
Tough.
We can hear him.
Wow.
Apparently he can't hear us. I don't know.
Well, he said he was charging his headphones, that he, I guess, didn't do so beforehand. So, anyway, I guess I'll go next. Nelson Flores Blanco, I don't think he's a return. I think there's other players that you could upgrade on. Harry and I were talking earlier. The fullback depth was one of our strengths, actually, this year, which is kind of odd to have. But we had quite a few options, and they kind of rolled him out there as first choice, and then by the end of the season, I don't think he was first choice as a left back. So at this point, I don't think he's going to be a nailed on starter. So I think he kind of becomes by default depth piece. So I don't think you have him return, especially for the money he undoubtedly is going to demand with his history of contracts. So I think he's a no.
I mean,
Rafa, go ahead, Jonathan.
I was just going to say, just to clarify here, you said he didn't really get many opportunities toward the end of the season. He was injured for, I think, basically the 4-match away run. So keep that in mind. And then he did start the last regular season match and the last playoff game. So injury really, particularly in the middle of the season, took a chunk out of his time. He's a guy who, I guess I'll kind of go ahead and give some of my thoughts here. He did seem to be, I'd say, favored by Yamosa and the coaching staff. And I think going forward, he's a solid option as sort of an attacking wingback. But I think a lot of the complaints this year maybe come from his defensive responsibilities. So it sort of depends on the system you're playing. If he's going to be a proper fullback in like a 4-man back line, I don't know if he's necessarily the right choice. If all of a sudden SAFC is going to have a 3-man back line and then wingbacks, which, not that they decided to do that in any pivotal match this past season, then maybe it's a better option. Maybe with an extra center back there, it's able to cover a little more for him, give him more freedom to go forward and do probably what he does better. So it kind of just depends on what the plan is going forward tactically.
But wasn't that shoulder injury kind of like his whole ordeal of not playing much of the beginning matches? In a way. And I get it, he was trying to recover.
He missed the first 2 matches and then played plenty through probably the end of March, April, May, I guess only into April, and then
so he did come back within time then.
Yeah, I mean, he just had a couple of injuries. I don't even know if it was the same one recurring throughout the year, but like I said, missed the first 3 matches, but then finally came in, recovered, was playing. Let's see, until last match was Jägermeister Cup against Omaha, so that's the end of June. Was out for sort of July and August, came back in for 4 matches, got injured again, came back in for the last 2. So consistency was not his strong suit.
Thumbs up or thumbs down? Yes or
so
no?
I would say yes.
Back?
I would think yes, he comes back, but I think he's really gonna have to prove himself. He's gonna have a bit of an uphill battle, is what I see. He's coming back, but he's gonna have to fight a little more for his time.
Jonathan, you're a yes to him coming back, right?
I guess so. I mean, again, it depends on what the vision of the team is going forward. We don't know that. Are any of you guys Carlos Yamosa? Is he on this show? I mean,
we don't know, man, because I did put it on the supporter Instagram and he saw it. So.
Well, is it him or is it Ferruzzi? But you'd have to find Ferruzzi. But I'm going to say Blanco's not coming back. And part of the reason why is Coach Lamosa. He came in and said that he's a defensive coach. And defensively was where he was kind of weak at for that here. I thought he had a down year for that here along those lines here. Alexis Sohe, we will move on to him. So Preston tweeted out that he's back on a 2020. He was signed on a 2025 multi-year deal. However, the press release said terms were not conditioned. He is 30 years old, so we're going under the assumption that he is automatically coming back, which would put him at 31, same as Mitch. 19 matches played, 14 starts, 1350 in minutes. Did have an assist, 3 yellow cards. As a number 3 center back, I thought he was okay, but I'm not sure if I'd want him as a starter. But since he is signed coming back, if SAFC was able to find somebody that could take him on, I would not object to that. But to me, it sounds like that he is going to be returning. Anybody have any feelings for Sohe, positive or negative? And I want to try to keep this moving, so because we do have quite a few players to get through.
I thought he was more than serviceable. I thought he did a really good job as that right-sided center back. What I would like to see, and I don't think Suhe and kind of how the formation evolved. I would like to see Cronali as that center back, as kind of the Jasser Kamiri back in 2022. And then Swahi on the right and Tainer on the left, and see if a back 3, how formidable that would be for SAFC. And that would kind of unlock the potential of bringing back Nelson Flores Blanco to be that left-sided wing back. So if that's the case, then yeah, we'll see. And we'll get to Cronali later, I'm sure. Is he next? No, he's not quite next. He's 20. So,
he's still away.
Yeah, so we'll talk about him later, but that would be interesting. But I'm gonna say, obviously, yeah, Suhe, I thought he did pretty well in that right-sided center back spot, but Tainer and Suhe seem to be stronger with a stable center back in defense in a back 3. So we'll see if Yamosa decides to implement that next season.
Rafa, any thoughts on Suhe to test you out?
He had his good days and he has bad. I think it's still. I think you keep him. Try one more year, see what he does. I mean,
Okay.
I think he has the upside, so I'd sign him for one more year.
The only reason why I'm going against Rafa on this, because being in the supporter section, you heard the people from up top keep, I don't know if we can cuss, but bitching about him. So that's my only pushback on that.
We're an adult show.
That's the only thing pushback I have. Does he come back? Obviously, because he is a multi-year. But that's the only thing he has to probably work on, is trying to get the love back of the fans.
So the other one is Noah Dollenmeyer, who came in very, very late, September 9th, on loan from El Paso Locomotive. Played against El Paso Locomotive, which was very interesting as well. I think he played. Yeah, he played. Pretty sure. No, or was it Neville that played against?
Let me Dollenmeyer. Oh God.
But he came in September. 3 matches played, 2 starts, 211 minutes, had 1 yellow card. Played in the playoffs. 26, so he'll be 27 next year. Tall. It's the biggest thing that I remember the announcers in the playoffs were saying is he's tall. But I thought he did all right. Rafa or Royce, whoever wants to go first.
I think with the changes in El Paso, it could be a wait and see now with him, because whoever they bring in. But if I'm aggressive, if I was aggressive sporting director, I try to sign him. I try to get him. I think he has an upside. I think he brings depth to the team, and also he does have that aerial attack. in the box. So I definitely will bring him back.
Royce, your thoughts on Noah? I know he's a loan, but would you sign him, assuming that he's not re-signed by?
No, I
El
wasn't. I was not that impressed with Dolmar, to be honest. He did only have 2 or 3 appearances for the team.
Correct.
I wasn't that impressed. He's a tall body, but I wasn't that impressed. And it does not look like he played against El Paso in the last
So
game
he
of the
didn't
season.
play. Okay, so
He did
it's
not,
Harvey
no.
Neville.
No.
Neville's the one that played against his loanee team.
Yeah,
That's
against
it.
Phoenix, which
Correct.
was they were asking some questions about, but
Mhm.
Yeah. So Noah wasn't. Matt or J-Check, any thoughts on SAFC signing Noah, because he was on loan, so he cannot just it's not an automatic return to us.
If he can, I would get him back. I liked him.
I mean, I just looked right now. He had 3 starts and then came on as a sub with about half an hour to go. So we saw 300 minutes of him toward the end of the season. It's not really enough to make a judgment. I think similar to Salim, this is one of those depth signings that you maybe make. So he's another one where he's not at the top of my list, but if he understands that he's not going to be top dog necessarily unless he really earns it, if he wants to come back, sure, maybe. But again, not the top of my list. I'm up in the air.
Alex Canali was only signed for 2025. He'll be 31. I thought he was good. I know Royce has already talked about him maybe in the middle of a 3-back line here. 18 matches played, 18 starts before he had the injury. Did have 2 goals, 1 assist, and 6 yellow cards for that here. I would like to see him back. I know that would make things kind of old with him, Mitch, and Swohei, 3 30-plus-year-old center backs. Right, because Sohei is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sohei is. It'll be 3 center backs that are 31. Not exactly the youth or speed would be the only thing here, but any objections to Alex Canali coming back?
Nope.
Nope. All right, moving on. Shannon Gomez. I think this one's unfortunately the end of the road for Shannon. He only had 4. This is league. 4 matches played, 2 starts, 191 minutes, 1 yellow card. He was the fullback that seemed out of sync. So I'm assuming, whether retirement or moving on to other teams.
He didn't
is
get
most
called up
likely.
either, right?
I don't think so. No, not really. Not this year.
He got called early, but not because he did have an international duty. But and then I think he got hurt, right? I believe.
I think something like that.
Right?
Yeah.
But to me, like I said here, he's put in a lot of great minutes. I just, and I know it's kind of weird with him being 29 next year, and we're talking about bringing 30 and 31-year-olds back. But his game was the speed, and I don't know if he still had that same speed. Anybody wanting to bring him back?
Not necessarily wanting to bring him back, but I will say I know they're all defenders, but I feel like age is maybe more of an issue for those wide guys, like Shannon, a wing back, a fullback, compared to a center back. So, it's somewhat not exactly apples to oranges, because again, they are all defenders, but maybe like red apples to green apples, and I guess while I'm talking, I will say, regardless of whether I think he should come back, he's clearly not really in the rotation, not really in Yamos's plans. So I would rather not see him kind of wasting away on the bench for another year. If he feels like he's still got more in the tank, I don't want to see him rot here. I want to see him find success, even if it's not with SAFC, find playing time at the very least. So as much as it hurts, because he's obviously a guy who's been a big part of this team for the last few years. I don't see Shannon coming back, unfortunately.
Go ahead.
Shannon's last appearance with Trinidad and Tobago was in Gold Cup qualifying, and he was on the bench for a 2-1 win against Cuba on March 21st, 2025. That was his last appearance with the TNT national team.
Reese Buckmaster will be 30, 24 matches played, 19 starts, 1,700 minutes, 1 goal, 1 assist, and 1 yellow card for that here. I want somebody with more speed. So for me personally, I would rather not see him back. He has a good veteran presence. I don't think he performed poorly. I just to me, SanAntonio has to get faster, and you got to get faster outside. And I just, to me, I would like to see Reese move on to greener pastures. Anybody else have a different view?
So again, this kind of goes with what Jonathan was talking about. Is the squad gonna be a back three and the wingers are gonna be more forward minded, or the wing backs, I guess, or are we gonna be a back four and you need more defensive fullbacks? Reese was very serviceable. He was kind of the opposite of Nelson Flores Blanco, right? Where Nelson Flores Blanco was more of a go forward and participate in the attack and kind of have a little bit of defensive responsibility. Reese is definitely a defender. He is a defender first, and he is quite good at one-on-one defending. So kind of depends on what the coach is looking for. I would like to bring him back. He still has the speed in defense. Does he have the speed going forward? No. Is he a great crosser of the ball? No. But he is a good one-on-one defender, and that is something pretty difficult to find in this league. So again, like Jonathan said, it depends on what the profile that the coaching staff's looking for. It depends on the formation we go with in the overall scheme. But I would not mind, considering his entire work of art for the season, I would not mind seeing him back.
So more yeses than nos. Thumbs up. All right. So the next one's kind of an interesting one. Harvey Neville couldn't get on the 18 in Phoenix. With us, came in July, 14 appearances, 8 starts, 685. Did have a goal and assist, 2 yellow cards. I think he's coming back, because the only way I think he comes back, or the only way I think he plays against Phoenix Rising, is if they know that they extended him, and he's gonna be moving to SanAntonio FC. That's my impression for that here. Anybody positive or negative thoughts on Harvey?
Keep him.
I think he comes back. I think
he was alone, so they'd have to sign him or transfer him in.
I think if Phoenix is done with him, so they'll probably release him. So I think.
So he wasn't allowed to play against Phoenix?
That's just
He
part of
did
He
play
was,
against.
which is strange, because
No.
usually you can't play against your parent club, but I guess maybe it wasn't in the agreement, and so he did.
So
Didn't matter. SAFC still lost, but
Yeah. But yeah, I'd bring him back. Get a United jersey signed by him.
Jesus Christ. Jimmy
the
Madronda.
bonfire.
Yes.
Two worldies as far as goals, 4 assists. Will be 31. Seem to be carrying a little bit of tacos from SanAntonio as the year progressed. I think for the money that he commands, because he is a former MLS player, I would rather get younger although he is fast, and that's one of my things. I did complain about the speed. He is fast, but I would like to see him move on because he didn't get. It seemed like he fell out of favor towards the end. Anybody have thoughts on Jimmy?
He started well in the beginning, and then he just kind of faded away. I mean, he had a couple moments here or there, but yeah, like you mentioned, he just kind of fell out of favor. I think the outside defense needs to get, like you mentioned, they need to get faster and younger. That's where we got killed a lot. If we're going to complement our our veteran defenders, we need some speed on the outside.
I'm going to say this. It's going to sound weird, but at the same rate, go with me on this line of logic. You can't have a Harry Neville on your team if you also have a Jimmy Madronda on your team. They kind of did the same thing, just in different methods. So Jimmy Madronda, very much a set piece merchant, and also played left back where he was most effective was as a left back. Mm-hmm. Harry Neville, same thing.
Harvey.
I'm sorry. That's tough. Harvey Neville, also predominantly left back, and he was a set piece merchant. So they kind of had the same profile, not the same profile of player, different, different careers, different points of their life and their careers as well. But they kind of took up the exact same spot. So you can't have one or the other. And if you're going to do that, one or the other, give me Harvey Neville over just with the youth. And I'm sure Harvey Neville's also going to ask a lot less money than Jimmy Madronda did. So that would free up more roster space or more wage flexibility for other spots in the formation. So give me Harvey if it's going to be one of those two.
But didn't Madronda move up into the middle?
He was very ineffective when we did that. And we only did that when we were down a goal, we were chasing, and we just needed him to kind of get forward a little bit to be more effective on the offense. And we gave up a lot of goals when he was in the midfield. So, yes, but not to great effect.
So, speaking of ineffective, we're going to move to the forwards. Jake LaCava, 17 matches played, 11 starts, 1,020 minutes, 1 goal, 1 assist. He did have a goal in the Jägermeister Cup. I was a LaCava fan at the start of the year. Now I'm like, get rid of him. I am pretty sure this is a get rid of LaCava, not to return. Is there anybody that wants to see LaCava back? I know Robert does, but outside of Robert, anybody else?
But didn't he have surgery?
He did, yes.
He did.
But when he was on the field, did you see anything?
Is the surgery going to make him better?
Okay.
Probably not.
I mean, I was just trying to play the
speedy recovery. Don't get me wrong, but no.
Yeah, no.
I don't see him coming back because remember the hype about him coming in from Rhode Island. That he was going to be a good piece to the puzzle. He just never flat out.
Never did.
Never lived up to expectations. So yeah,
it wasn't Rhode Island. It was Charleston.
Charleston, yeah, wherever. It's East
Coast.
Coast.
Alex Grieve, 2025 multi-year contract, so 25 years old, is scheduled to return. 15 matches played, 6 starts, 552 minutes. Was hurt, 2 goals, 1 assist, and no yellow cards. I thought he did all right. He kind of grew in on me a little bit. I don't know if I'd want him as a starter, but I thought as kind of a role player, I didn't think he was that bad. For somebody coming new to the league, and he'll be 26 next year. Anybody, and I'll ask this. Any thoughts on Alex since he is scheduled to come back, positive or negative?
The potential's there. The potential's there, especially as a backup, and if he's willing to accept that backup position, yeah, re-sign him all day. He was one of the few I don't even want to say he was an effective forward, but compared to his competition in the spot, he was an effective forward for this team. And despite the injury, he still did better than a lot of his colleagues that weren't injured for most of the season. So bring him back, absolutely.
For what it's worth, the bar in terms of his competition is down here, and
Oh.
it's below.
Oh,
where
it's
the screen shows.
it's lower than
Oh.
Rafa's Wi-Fi quality for sure. For sure.
I will say he spent so much of this year injured, and so just given how this year went, I would definitely be on the fence. I would kind of be similar to. I mean, we saw him more than some of these other guys, but similar to what I said about Dolenmeyer, it's just like I feel like we didn't see enough of him to really make much of a judgment.
500 minutes is enough.
It was enough.
Like you said, though, I think
he
it was
had
like
his time.
6 starts, 15 appearances or something like that. Sure, but 6 starts, a lot coming off the bench. He can probably do that job as a role player or, just kind of a depth signing. And I will say, whether it's SAFC's kindness, whether it's some negotiation by his agent, he's signed for another year. He's got another year to actually maybe prove what he's capable of if he's able to stay fit, and if he's able to get opportunities. So lucky for him.
The next one, I'm going to give it to Royce Juan Agudelo.
He's gone. Next.
Sign him, bring him back.
Well, no, we know he's not, but
I know that's the joke.
To give him, to let Royce give him his props one more time. 21 matches played, 11 starts, 987 minutes, 1 goal. However, in the Jägermeister Cup, he did have 3 goals and assist for that here, and I know it's separate. He is not coming back. We know that for a fact because he's retiring. Royce, we'll get you one more time as the president.
Real quick, before Royce says anything, I've never seen Royce so pissed when they announced his retirement on the field, and he gave literal death eyes to Junior because Junior wouldn't shut the hell up while they were trying to give him his flowers. I'm sorry, Royce. I talked to Junior after. He was like, "We're okay. I was like, "Dude, give him his flowers, bro." Royce literally had like death threat eyes.
It's the last time the dude's gonna be in the stadium. Let him enjoy the fucking moment, eh?
Bro, this shit was so funny, bro. And me and Ralph are looking at each other like, "Hey, I mean, it's Junior, so I mean, there's nothing we can really do." But then finally, we got Junior to stop, and Royce was like, "God."
Ridiculous. Anyway, no, Juan Agudelo. Is he a club legend? No. Is he a U.S. soccer legend? Yeah. I mean, he was successful with U.S. soccer in general. Kind of brought the national team up a peg in quality. Scored a goal for the U.S. men's national team against Mexico in a 2-0 game in the Alamo Dome. Pretty damn legendary to me. Super cool to have him on the team for a couple years. Super nice dude, very approachable. If you're interested in crypto, that's your guy. But no, just every game, he worked his ass off. Very physical player. Never got a foul called in his favor, even when he was fouled constantly. So, again, good dude. Happy he made the club better. He left it in a better place than what he joined it. Gave a lot of blood, sweat, and tears of the team. Really, really appreciate his time and enjoy retirement. And that's it. Let's move on. Not even a word later. Next player up is going to be Andres Paredes. Is that a thumbs up or thumbs down? Let's take it around the horn.
11 matches played, 10 starts, 862 minutes, 1 goal, 1 assist in league. However, he did win the match in the Jägermeister Cup against Colorado Springs with 2 goals coming on as a sub. Did have the big red card against New Mexico United that probably cost us at least a draw through their hair. So I think most on this show agree that if we could re-sign him, because he is a free agent, or they may have an option, but he was not signed to a multi-year deal. I think most of us would like to see him back because the team fell apart without him. Any thoughts? Jonathan smirks at my comment on that.
I think it's going to come down to how severe that injury was. The timeline of it. He was peak. He was by the time that injury got, he was peaking at the right. Like he elevated his game, and I can only imagine had he stayed healthy with Patino up top, what kind of damage they could have done. So, depending on the medical report, and like I said, we had a similar player last year that got hurt, and we didn't sign him back. If he's able to come back and make him play it close to that level, then yeah, I'd bring him back. Because, like I said, when he went down, our offense just went Titanic there.
Everybody's for him coming back, I assume, here mostly across the board.
Yeah, no shit. Move on. Next, Pacheco.
Diego Pacheco. 19 matches played, 12 starts, 926, 3 goals, and 2 yellow cards here. I thought he was good. He just wasn't healthy. I wouldn't mind him.
I thought he was good, but he is another classic case of trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. He's a forward. I think he's a 9. He's a target 9. I don't think he's a winger, and we try to play him as a winger, especially when Paredes went down. We try to play him as a winger a lot. So I think he was just kind of miscast. And if we do like let's say a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2, then you need 2 forwards. Grieve, Pacheco, Patino. You kind of have your forward group kind of sorted there, and then Jorge is going to be in that mix as well. Obviously the starter, but if you can have Grieve and Pacheco as the 2 backups to Patino and Jorge, I think you're in not a terrible spot. So you kind of got that going for you. I say bring him back. I thought he was good with the club. He had that really unfortunate injury against El Paso, which really sucked. I thought he could have been really useful in the final. God, fucking wishful thinking here, in the playoffs. But yeah, I think you bring him back.
AJ's already said no to number 80, Kyle Linhairs from Portland Timbers. The only thing that's good that's came back from Portland is Stewart. Any objections to Kyle not coming back? I know Royce is a big fan.
Did you really even see him?
Thumbs down.
9 matches, 4 starts, 442 minutes. Did not register a goal, assist, or a yellow card, which
He was just an extra body. That was it with the injury. It was an extra body, but
he was signed as a kind of a youth hopeful. I don't think they had a lot of money left to sign anybody. I think he was signed as a replacement, a very hopeful replacement for Paredes when Paredes went down and did not even compare. Was really wholly ineffective. It kind of seemed, and this is one thing that if we go back to the show, whenever they announced his signing, I went back on the game film that they had. He really seemed like a 10. He did not seem like a winger. Didn't seem like he had a lot of speed. Didn't really seem like he crossed the ball a lot. And he was asked to come into a team that was a level above what he'd been playing. And he had been asked to be a winger with speed and across the ball. And he had really not shown any of those skills in his film. So I think, again, try to fit a square peg in a round hole. Didn't work. And, again, I don't think he fit with the team.
I'm just going to say really quickly here. I was going to say that if Royce didn't, the way he described what he was sort of brought in to do, sort of stretch the back line, that kind of thing, is exactly what Paredes was supposed to be doing. So obviously he was a replacement there. And he clearly didn't fit into SAFC if he didn't get any yellow cards. I mean, let's be real.
Yep. and the reason we know this, next year's number 9, Santiago Patino, is scheduled to return. Signed August for a multi-year deal. 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 yellow cards, 10 matches.
Allegedly. I'm going to leave him at allegedly because he did the same shit. He did that shit, 2 years ago, where he was supposed to be a multi and he just left.
I mean, SAFC got a transfer fee for it, so...
That's what I'm saying. Allegedly, that motherfucker's going to come back.
Yeah. I mean, this is... I guess we haven't really mentioned it yet, but, like, the caveat with some of these guys is even though they are on a multi-year deal, it doesn't mean they can't get loaned out. It doesn't mean they can't get transferred. But as of right now, assuming, the CBA and everything gets smoothed over, these guys are under contract with SAFC for another year. So they're SAFCs to do with what they please.
So I think everybody agrees, well, except for Matt. Matt seems to be wanting to ship him out somewhere, but I would like to see Santiago Patino return. Goalkeepers, Joey Batruni, scheduled to return, 2025 multi-year deal, did not have any league action, did have
Cup.
Jägermeister Cup.
Jägermeister Cup. The one that I think that'll spark some debate, Richard Sanchez. I'm a no. AJ's a no.
Why does AJ get a say?
Why doesn't AJ get a say, dude? I asked AJ.
He's not on this show. If he wants to give his opinions, he needs to get behind the mic.
So I am giving AJ a voice as far as part of my third. He gets through there here.
I think you move on here. You move on, but you get a younger, experienced keeper because eventually, Joey Bertroni is going to be your number one by 2027.
So
that's the plan.
Here's a question for you: do you bring him back as a backup?
That you do. Yeah. Sanchez or Bertroni?
Well, Bertroni's coming back because he signed a multi-year deal.
No,
Sanchez, do you bring him back as a backup? I don't want him as a starter through here. So if he has to go, he has to go.
Let him go. He can go get with one of the new teams.
Anybody wanting to bring him back?
Oh yeah,
he can go to Brooklyn.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's not a bad idea to maybe bring him back as the backup, but I think you need steadier hands and perhaps younger hands as your starter this next year. I don't know who exactly they'll pick up, but I don't know if Joey's necessarily ready to step up to that. But I don't think you want Sanchez to be your only competitive option as a starter.
I could agree with John on that. Backup, sure.
No, I don't.
Well, that was what Harry was suggesting.
Being a goalkeeping coach, it's time to move on. I think eventually Joey he may end up taking over the team maybe midway in 2026. He's got the potential. If you watch the tapes on him and if you watch the games he played, very minimal mistakes. I know he made a couple rookie little errors, but as far as technique wise, he's got it down. But in the way to you got to bring it still, and I know they're bringing him up, but I think you go younger, maybe like late 20s, experienced goalkeeper, till you be your number 1A, and your Joey will be 1B, and then your number 2 could be maybe like a veteran, just in case something happens, like what happened 2 years ago, like when they brought in Sanchez in. But I think you want to have some competition for Joey that's younger, that he can be challenged.
Is that Daniel Nanami, who is 28. He'll be 29 next year, so he's a little bit more veteran. I thought he had 3 starts. 3 starts, goals allowed in 90.65, 14 shots faced, had 11 saves, 78.6, and he had 2 clean sheets out of his starts here. So if you're bringing back 2, are you bringing back the combo of Daniel and Joey and letting them fighting out? Maybe Daniel starts early before Joey moves in. Then Rafa,
you can do that. You literally could do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel doesn't move on and goes to, like I said, you got 2 expansion teams coming up.
I think he goes back home to Corpus.
Yeah, he's not going to drop down. That's a problem, but I don't think he dropped down a division for that. He wants to stay there in the championship league. Like I said, either Brooklyn or whoever the other the other team is.
Milwaukee,
Not Milwaukee. It's forgot who else. Santa
Reno.
Barbara.
I think didn't Santa Barbara delay for a year
Yeah,
though?
I
Okay,
think it's
yeah.
only Brooklyn coming in.
Okay,
It
Brooklyn.
might only be Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn. He's probably has an opportunity there because they probably want somebody with some experience as far as fighting for the job.
I don't know that he has enough pro experience though. He made his professional debut this last year with SAFC.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I know he's late 20s, I think, but
he was with
he hasn't-
Houston FC of USLHQ prior to joining SAFC.
yeah. I mean, to his credit, he came in sort of on trial in preseason. He earned a roster spot, showed decently when he was called upon, when he got the opportunities. But I just don't think he has enough experience to push for another championship spot. That's why, I don't think Harry's too far off there, suggesting Corpus maybe.
Corpus. I think, like I said, some of the games he played when I'm watching him, I think he could play at that level. But if he's wanting one to to compete for a starting job, then like I said, you let him go. That's on his prerogative. But if you do bring him back, at least you have two competitive young keepers. But you do bring in a younger, more experienced keeper in their, like I said, late 20s, and that's something I remember. I think Coach comment we mentioned about yesterday about Joey eventually taking over, maybe sooner. But I think you're bringing someone like a veteran, late under 30. You've got that's done well. That way these guys learn from him, and then you take the training wheels off and you let Joey loose.
Moving to midfielders, Mohamed Omar. My biggest thing against Mo is he can't stay healthy. Unfortunately, it just seems like every year that he's had injuries, but he is 14 matches played, 9 starts, 959 minutes, 1 goal, 2 yellow cards. He will be 27 next year. I would like to see him back. I don't know as a starter, but I thought performance-wise, I think he's good. Just for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem like with SAFC he's been able to stay healthy. Is my biggest issue.
What a surprise! A player in the SAFC shirt not staying healthy. I'm shocked.
Anybody want to bring him back? Not bring him back.
I'd bring him back as a backup. I think if you got a lead or you need to play more defensive, you bring him in off the bench. Maybe you start a cup game here and there.
Yeah, similarly, kind of like some of the other guys we've talked about earlier, he's not exactly at the top of my list, but I feel like we don't really notice him making mistakes or anything. He doesn't stand out in a bad way. The main knock against him, like you said, is kind of just the fitness. And to his credit, the first year he was with SAFC, it was a very sort of unsettled team in that last year under Marcina, unfortunately. But also just he got a season-ending injury in May, a couple months in, and unfortunately that was that. But SAFC was able to say, okay, we'd like to give you another year, give you another shot. And he wasn't bad. Didn't really stand out in a bad way, like I said. So sure, maybe.
So just to confirm real quick, obviously North Carolina is out. So that is 2 or 3 less roster spots for a goalkeeper. I know I'm kind of coming to this late, but whatever. Brooklyn is slated to start in 2026, as is looks like Sporting Jacksonville. So Brooklyn Sporting Jacks says 2026, and Santa Barbara Sky has been delayed until 2027, as well as Atletico Dallas is delayed till 2027. That's what this says here.
I don't think Sporting Jacks has a stadium as of yet, but we could see. on that here.
Fair enough.
Moving on to Luke Hawkinson. AJ's a yes. I'm a no as far as Luke for that here. He'll be 31, 24 matches played, 16 starts, 1467 minutes, 5 goals, 1 assist, 3 yellow cards here. I just think the team needs to get faster in the midfield for that here. So that's, I think if he comes back, it's a utility role, veteran off the bench, but he's a former MLS player. I'm assuming he commands a fairly high paycheck. So for me, I'd rather free up that money for a more impactful player, in my opinion.
I think you said Harry. Agreed. Move on.
All right. Nicky Hernandez. This is an interesting one here. Ole signed a 2025 year. 28 matches played, 19 starts, 1668 minutes, 2 goals, 2 assists, 6 yellow cards. I like Nicky. I think he's fun. It depends on his role, I guess, is the question, is where does he play? Because if you want a more attacking player, I'd rather have an upgrade. If you're going to keep him more defensive mid that can move up, I'd rather keep him. So sure, just because I think he's a good locker room presence, but to steal something from Jonathan, not high on my list, but also not at the bottom of my list to not bring back if the options are there. Anybody else?
I thought you were going to be stealing another thing from me. I don't know if I've ever said it before, but something I was told when I found out he was signing about a year ago was that regardless of what he does on the field, he's apparently a really good guy in the locker room. Just, I guess, keeps the vibes good or something. I don't know. But so it is kind of a question of where does he fit in the team, because as an 8, yeah, he does the job on both sides of the ball decently. But I don't know if he's necessarily defensive enough to be a more defensive midfielder. I don't know if he quite has it as an attacking midfielder. So he's caught between a rock and a hard place there. So it kind of, like I said earlier, depends what your vision for the team is going forward. Depends if there is a space for that kind of more two-way guy.
Royce or Rafa?
I'd bring him back. I think having a good locker room guy helps out, and he is a good utility player. Depending on injuries on your attacking mid or holding mid, like I said, I think him coming off the bench will be good, or starting here every now and then and so forth. But I think having good bench people, locker room people, is going to help the vibe there in the with the team. I'll keep.
And here's the thing, and this is another case of kind of having two players of basically the same role, and that's Luke Hawkinson and Nicky Hernandez. They kind of both midfielders, they're both 8s that could play as a 10 if you needed to, or a forward if you needed to. They can score goals, they can go back on defense. They kind of have the same profile, so do you really need 2 of the exact same player? Especially demanding the money that I'm sure both of them demand. And also, Luke Hawkinson erasure. I'm pretty confident Luke's also a really good locker room dude, just like Nicky. So it's kind of between Nicky and Luke. Nicky's younger. Nicky doesn't have minutes in MLS, so I'm sure his wage bill's a little lower, which gives flexibility around the roster as well. I think you bring back, if he wants to come back, obviously, because he kind of has a history of kind of not talking to anybody and just kind of popping up in random spots, i.e. New Mexico randomly. I think you bring back Nicky over Luke in that case, if you have the choice of each.
Not the place I thought you were going to say he popped up.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, let's not. We don't need to talk about that. We don't need to talk about certain social media posts and Nikki's activities before the Mexico game. So tough.
So the next one, I'm probably going to throw a wild card in. Jorge Hernandez, 2025 multi-year deal. I don't think he returns. I think he goes elsewhere for that, whether it's MLS or Europe. I think this is the year that he makes the move. He'll be 25. If he's going to make a jump, it has to be now as opposed to later. I don't know what else he has to prove with SAFC. 26 matches played, 25 starts, 2,200 or 2,263 minutes, 11 goals, 6 assists, converted 6 out of 5 PKs, 7 yellow cards, 1 red card. Would I love to see him back with SAFC? He is scheduled to return, but I would also like to see if he can take the next step for that here. And if SAFC could get a transfer fee, I would not be objective. I would not object to that. I do not want to see him move to another USL team, but if he is able to get transferred to a team in Europe or Mexico or South America or wherever, I would not object to that. He is my kind of wild card that, even though he is scheduled to return, I don't think he does.
Matt.
Yeah, Matt, go ahead.
Okay.
I think it is time for him to move on. I think it's the right age for him to take the next step. I think he needs to go MLS or Liga MX or somewhere in Europe. It's time for him. I think he's done whatever he can do here. He needs a new challenge.
Wherever he goes, I hope there are forwards that can actually convert all the chances he creates, because that's been one of the problems over the last couple of years with SAFC. He creates the chances, no one's really finishing them off. I mean, this year he ended up as the team's highest goal scorer. I know some of those are penalties, but he was having to do the job himself. So I don't think that's a terrible take. To say like he needs to move on, he needs to finally make that step up. I think it would be really interesting if he does move on, whether in the American off season or, maybe midway through the season, maybe he goes somewhere to Europe, who knows? That would change certainly some of the calculus around not even just who we bring back, but what kind of maybe formation and everything you're playing if you don't have Jorge in the mix, because I think everyone would agree he's kind of the first name on the team sheet. If he's healthy, you definitely want him out there. So would be an interesting piece to remove off the board.
Royce, any thoughts before we move on? Because Matt doesn't have any thoughts, as he mentioned.
No, Matt. That's kind of that's the Matthew Gamez experience. 0 thoughts. Co-sign what Jonathan said. Continue.
Okay. Luciel Barón, number 14, 23 years old, 21 matches played, 13 starts, 11, almost 1,200 minutes, 1 goal, 11 yellow cards, 1 red card. I thought he should be a contender for the newcomer of the year or young player of the year for USL Championship. I know he doesn't have the stats. I thought he was the surprise signing. If you go back to SAFC's new signings this year, I thought he was the bright spot coming out from Creighton. So, of course, I would love to see him back. Anybody does not want to see him back?
Yeah, I think he earned his spot. I mean, not a lot of people expected a lot from him. Probably maybe he thought sit on the bench, but for what he did this season, it was a surprise. Being a quote unquote rookie, yeah, he earned it, and he definitely hope he'll be back for this coming season.
He's definitely one that surprises this season for sure. One of the bright spots of the 2025 SAFC season. And I hope we can re-sign him. I hope we can bring him back, because from what I've heard, there were plenty of MLS clubs that were that we're taking a look at him to sign him in the offseason. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, absolutely thumbs up. Bring it back.
And I mean, he certainly got plenty of playing time this year. He was a name that Carlos Dumosa was mentioning in the preseason, I think before he'd even officially been signed. So I would certainly be excited to see what he's able to do with a year of professional soccer under his belt. He had a solid first year, I'd say. Good foundation.
So Amir Soto, I think, is interesting. 30 years old, will be 31 next year. 30 matches played. I think he played the most out of everybody. 27 starts, 22-46 as far as minutes. So, yeah, most minutes on the team. 2 assists, 10 yellow cards. I thought he was solid. I wouldn't object to him coming back. I just wonder age-wise for that here. But to me, for the veteran and holding up the midfield, dude, I thought he was solid. He was just signed as a 20-25 year contract, no multi, but there may be options that we're not aware of. All right, moving on. Juan Sebastian Osorio, 21 years old, 8 matches played, 5 starts, 353 minutes, 2 yellow cards. I didn't see enough. He didn't play a lot. He was hurt. I don't have any feelings on him coming back for that year.
I think he moves on to somewhere else so he can get playing time.
Yeah, kind of similar to Harry. He spent so much of the year injured that we don't really know what to think. We didn't really get to see much of him. I think when he was brought in, he was kind of considered to be a midfielder, and then he ends up playing, I think, more as a right back anyway. So it's a bit awkward, and it also kind of depends. We started by talking about the defenders, but if he is going to be, somewhat of a right back, okay, now it depends on, are you bringing back Buckmaster? Are you bringing back, some of these different guys? So maybe they keep him as depth there. But at the same time, like you said, 21 years old, which kind of boggled my mind, actually, because you mentioned, Harry, that Lucio Barón was kind of you thought he should have been in contention for like Young Player of the Year.
He might not qualify, right?
I was gonna say I had a spreadsheet of players who were eligible for that. Barón was not on it. Osorio was, and when I saw him on there, I was like, "Are you serious? Is he that young?"
Yes.
But he is. So I mean, who knows? Maybe if he's able to stay fit, he's a solid part of the team. But we just, because of his injury, didn't get to see enough this last year. One thing I will say, if we don't see him again, even when he wasn't exactly fit to play, when he was out at training, he would always make a point to come over, shake your hand, just say, "Hey, how you doing?" at training. So he's a friendly guy, if nothing else, but that doesn't get you a contract.
Royce, Rafa, I know Rafa, you mentioned no. Royce, Matt.
I mean, again, he's a young player with potential. That whenever he was healthy and he was in the squad, he looked all right. So I think he's one of those young players, a lot like the player we're going to talk about next, who can develop, that you keep in the squad, and they're in that gap between academy and pro, and you give them more pro minutes and see how they develop. He didn't really get a lot of chances this season, but when he was there, he did a job. He did some work, and it also opens up some interesting lanes of opportunity because his dad is pretty influential in Mexican soccer. So, yeah, I think you bring him back. Same with Soto. I thought Soto was a really good 6 and was a very good mentor and double pivot partner to Barón. So, yeah, I think you bring back Soto as well. Sorry, had some mic issues there.
He was our most guy.
And Soto still has my favorite moment of the season for SAFC during gameplay. That wasn't, like a milestone or anything, but it was, ironically, in the Pittsburgh game if you go back to it, Pittsburgh wins the throw on the sideline, and it just so happened to be right in front of the two Pittsburgh Riverhound fans that we met up with, Harry and I, after the game. And the ball goes out, and Soto goes to the sideline, and he stands outside the sideline right in front of the guy trying to throw the ball in, and is pointing at players to get positioned just to shithouse and be in the way of the thrower so he can't take the throw. And these two Pittsburgh fans on camera lose their damn mind at Soto just being a complete shithouse and just getting in the way. It was like, dang, that's that like next level pro move that you don't see a lot, and it's really cool when you see it, because it's like, damn, he frustrated the entire team, not just the one dude trying to throw, the whole team, and got them out of the game for that 1 second, which those little moments build up to beat the team, and we beat them 2-0 that night. So I thought that was cool, and just my favorite moment from the season.
So number 55, Dimitri. I can never say his last name.
Arofiev.
Erofeev, I think it is. Erofeev.
I do it like I'd pronounce his name like a Canadian hockey commentator would. Arofiev, kind of like Fedorov. Arofiev. That's just what I'm sticking to. But yeah, no, he pronounced it. He pronounced it like Czech pronounces it in the pronunciation guide and during his interviews. But I'm still gonna roll with Arofiev.
Yeah, so, I was gonna say I did, since SAFC now for the pronunciation guide literally just asks the players,
has the players say them in a soundbite. Exactly.
Yeah, which is so nice. He was one of those names that I put in at the start of the year because I was like, okay, this is going to be one that there are going to be some questions of. Here's the guy himself saying it. I think, ironically, I don't necessarily want to call SAFC out, but I think in their own media notes, match notes, I think the way they do it phonetically is not quite right. But if you just imitate what Dimitri says, to me, I would say Erofeev. Now, of course, the ironic part is, we're debating how to pronounce his name more than he really got opportunities to play, I'd say. Yeah. I mean, he's under contract, obviously, so, his fate is in SAFC's hands. I wouldn't
he'll
be opposed
19. He'll be 19.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, he will have had a year to sort of adapt to life, in a new country and all that. I'm sure that was a lot at 18 years old. I think it might be kind of interesting. Call me crazy, but maybe loan him out for the first half of the season just to get him some reps, just to get him some minutes in his legs, and then bring him back mid-season if he's doing all right, and see what he can do in the SAFC team.
Loan him out to Corpus. Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah, because I mean they're going to be looking for players.
Or you can loan him out to the other League One team in El Paso. You can see if they need a player on loan. So there you go.
So there's one player that's not on here, but I think he does deserve a mention, and that's Landry Walker. Was with the U17 camp here recently, not at the World Cup, but at the camp in November. 7 matches played, 3 starts, came on pivotal times towards the end of the season, 267 minutes. Would you sign him to a professional contract? I haven't heard if he's going to college yet. I could be wrong on that. He is one that I would like to see returning because it's been a while since we've had a young player come up through the SAFC Academy and make a significant impact to the team, or really any impact to the team for that here. Any objections to Landry Walker signing a professional contract with SAFC?
If they think he's ready. And I'm also looking at his age right now.
He's 16. He'll be 17 next year, so he can still do another year of an academy contract.
Yeah.
Possibly even 2. I feel like it might extend to 19 or something like that. Of course, it also depends on if he wants to maybe try the college route. But if he's getting some opportunities with the SAFC first team at the age of 16, that bodes fairly well. And it could be one of those situations similar to Jose Gallegos, where he commits to college and then reassesses and says, you know what? I think I have an opportunity to just go straight into the program. I'm going to give it a shot. So, and especially kind of to circle back to what we were talking about at the start of the show, there have been a lot of players retiring. So there are going to be some spaces opening up around American soccer, at least in these lower divisions.
Well, it also may depend. It also may depend on who's recruiting him and how much NIL money is he going to be offered. That's the new factor now compared when a Gallegos. I think a Gallegos maybe got offered a bunch of money by his college team. Then maybe it'd have been something different. But I think Landry, with the way where he's at, I think there's a lot of D1 teams that are probably after him, and they're probably going to open the wallet for him to go play. Maybe he'll stick around for a year, and then he'll go, and then he'll sign a pro contract.
But I think Mr. Centro makes a good point here, where he says Landry is a serious player, another that needs to really bulk up to make the next step. But that'll come. Would hope he doesn't go college route. He has a huge future. So I think, and this kind of comes in, maybe where Rafa or Royce can kind of compare maybe getting the minutes at USL Championship and then transitioning Bryant did, Gallegos has done, and making that jump overseas and making it a career as opposed to going to the college path. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with going to the college path for that here, but to me, he is one as far as the pro academy players that was signed here that I think is an interesting opportunity for a academy player to sign professionally for that here.
The other factor could be also MLS Next. They could switch. Remember, if you look at Rocky Pettis.
But that's
if you look at Rocky Pettis, he went to Austin, and Austin could end up sweeping him up and taking him over there. So they keep an eye on that.
But that's why SAFC needs to get ahead of it and sign him to a professional contract, in my opinion.
Yeah, same with Leo Torres. He did the same thing.
Well, Leo Torres got loaned. He was with SAFC. He got loaned to Real Salt Lake, and then ended up not. He did well there for I think 2 years for that here, and then kind of faded out. But that's to me is why I think SAFC needs to be forward thinking with Landry as opposed to waiting for that here. But your thoughts, Royce? Sorry to cut you off.
No, y'all are good. And by the way, Rocky Pettis, he did not go to Austin.
I forgot where he went to.
So Rocky's travels, he in 2022, so in the 6 months before he went to college, he was with the Atlanta United Academy. And then he went to South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
He was at South Carolina, looks like, for a couple years. And then now he's with Michigan. So he's at the University of Michigan. No, regarding Landry, his birthday's in May, and he turned 17 in May, so still very young, still has a lot of experience, and a lot more to give. So I think, you get him on another academy contract, and maybe consider a full-blown contract to get him some playing time, to get him some development. I think he's the next player to go to Europe, and to try to get him ready for that. I think that's what SAFC needs to do: give him more playing time, develop him further, and have him keep his eyes on Europe. I don't think he's going to be a college player. I think he's at a level to where he can do this professionally, and kind of depending on what his parents want, I think he can position himself to go overseas and play.
For me, hold on a second. I got to fix the scenes because we switched through here. People are in and out. To me, I think the reason why I'm such a huge person on trying to get him promoted, from the academy contract, is because we all think that he has the potential to go overseas, and the only way you can lock in that to guarantee at least some sort of transfer fee, whether it's to MLS, whether it's to overseas, is by signing him to a professional contract, not to a pro academy contract. So that's why if he knows he doesn't plan on going to college, to lock him in on there, and that's why for SAFC, he is one of those. If you believe in his long term potential, you sign him to a 3-4 year deal if possible, with the option for that here. I know it costs a little bit of money, but to me, I think he is the type of player that, number one, locally that you can build on marketing wise. I know SAFC marketing, that's kind of a misnomer, but to me, he is the one player as far as from the academy, like Jorge, like Gallegos, like Bryant. What's his name? I know it starts with a K. Ethan Bryant, that you can. It wasn't a K. Ethan Bryant, that you try to build on and get back that pipeline that's been stopped from the academy to the SAFC's first team. Any final thoughts on the players? Any things here if that you want to kind of revisit before we get out of here? Matt?
Are we doing coach this one, or we're doing coach on another one?
Oh, good Lord.
Let's
No,
see,
because
do we
Sam
bring
asked
back
earlier
the
in the
coach
show.
that's
I'm
been
just
here
questioning.
1 year?
Dude, I think the bigger question would be Ferruzzi than the coach, but that's just me personally.
No, I was just saying because Sam asked earlier, how did we feel about?
I thought he did all right. He made the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's
I
what.
mean,
Yeah,
he exceeded expectations. As far as that, he had big shoes to fill, but getting to the playoffs was not not fit. Wasn't the
Now
finish
they
we
backed
wanted.
into the playoffs, but
Yeah,
that's a
Mhm.
whole
not
separate
the finish,
discussion.
not the finish that we wanted to going into the playoffs. But I mean, he still got us in. But the thing is, you can tell he is motivated. I think the players like him. Um, we'll see what he does after a year under his belt, what changes he makes, but that also goes back to with the front office. The hot seat's going to be on the front office. What are they going to do for him to take that next step?
and great.
John,
And just,
go ahead.
and I was gonna say he's very fan approachable. So I definitely would want to keep him around as long as possible. And I mean, only the soccer gods know how long he'll stay with us. But I think he did great for that first year, and I think he exceeded expectations of just by him getting to the playoffs. So,
I don't know about exceeded expectations, but
well, I mean, I wouldn't expect him to get that far either.
Jonathan, your thoughts from the media perspective? I know you've been through a couple of, with Coach Powell, with Marcina, and now with Lamosa. Your thoughts on how he did? Maybe because you get a different experience than what we have. Just from a media aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I I certainly didn't really have any problems with him this year. He seemed, for a first-year head coach, and I know he had served at least kind of on an interim basis a couple times before this, but he seemed pretty comfortable with interviews with the media. Was rather insightful compared to some other coaches. So I certainly had no qualms in that regard. It'll definitely be interesting to see how he's able to build on all this. I certainly intend to at some point ask him, okay, now what did you learn from that first year? How did it kind of change you? How do you grow from that? And I was just thinking of saying, well, we know this sport. Players may move around, but coaches tend to stick. But really, that's not always the case. Maybe not in Europe. Perhaps a team like Chelsea is very famous for changing coaches frequently. But I think in American sports, you tend to not move the coach on unless things are really bad. And Umosa had a decent first year. They're not. He would have to have really screwed up or been abysmally bad to not be coming back, I think it's almost silly to be discussing this.
Yeah. So the final question, as far as final thoughts here, and this is from Sam. Are we seriously looking at a possible player strike? We'll go around the horn on this. Matt, your thoughts on do you think that there will be a strike, or do you think USL and the Players Association will come to an agreement?
I think there possibly will be a strike. I mean, for how much you see some of our own players posting about it and gathering up on it, I wouldn't be shocked. Honestly, I would not be shocked.
We'll go Jonathan last. Rafa, then Royce.
I think there'll be, I guess, a holdout strike, whatever, probably maybe into January. I'm guessing. Like I said, this is not a good time for the USL to be, especially with all the changes they're trying to do. It's not a good look. So if they can get it done sooner, within December, great. If not, it's not going to look good, if it drags on.
Royce?
I hope not, but it certainly seems to be heading that way.
I do not think that there will be a strike. Now, I'm not going to say that they'll get a deal done by the end of next week for that here by any means. But as far as the upcoming year, I do not anticipate USL to not be playing when the season kicks off in early, scheduled. I'm assuming scheduled to be early March. I do think USL will start on time. I'm not going to say there won't be some hard feelings this winter, especially as Rafa mentioned in December. But I do think that by January, mid-January, everything will be worked out. Just because USL has to get it done, they cannot. USL cannot go into this World Cup year without them playing. They can't. It's just, it would be the dumbest move that USL could do for that here. Jonathan, your thoughts, and then we'll go around final thoughts outside of Happy Thanksgiving, unless everybody's final thoughts is Happy Thanksgiving to everybody for that here. So your thoughts, Jonathan?
Yeah, well, you actually kind of just touched on something that I was thinking and was going to start with, is the players have, I feel like, a bit of leverage in that sense that USL, like a lot of other American soccer leagues, are saying, hey, World Cup next year, it's going to be big for soccer in America. Well, guess what? If you don't have an agreement with your players, if you're not playing, doesn't matter. Then it's almost magnified in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You look at this and say, well, you talked a big talk, and now you can't even get things squared away off the field here. And I think, although it was kind of just a slogan, the Players Association maybe makes a good point. Before you start trying to do D1, trying to do Pro Rel, you need to make sure that the leagues you already have are stable. It's not exactly a one-to-one comparison, but it's kind of reminding me of about 10, 15 years ago. Those of us in San Antonio would know the old NASL was, or not the old NASL, but the new and now old again NASL that came about as a second division. It was talking a big talk. It wanted to challenge MLS for first division status. And looking back, hindsight is 2020. It wasn't even really a stable second division. So yeah, good luck running if you can't even walk straight. So in terms of if we see a strike, I don't know. I mean, we still have a couple months for them to figure this out. One thing I will say, though, is if you thought SAFC wasn't making player signings and announcements and all that in a timely fashion in previous years, I don't know that we'd see any until this is sorted out. So could feel like an even longer, tenser off season. Although I think, haven't we already seen some teams making announcements?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just guys that are already under contract. Okay, so I mean, there's that. But
no, player options are being exercised. So
okay, yeah. So intentions of, hey, if we sort this out, we'll have you. But in terms of signing new guys, I don't know that really happens.
Well, it
if
can't happen
this is
yet because the
sorted out.
league year hasn't ended. For
Yeah.
the league.
Well, but even then, until this is all sorted out, how many guys are going to sign when they're not even sure if this whole kerfuffle is going to be sorted out? It's a sticking point. It's like it's just a big wall that until you take that down, players aren't going to be moving around. So it's going to be a really interesting situation. We'll see how it pans out. Hopefully, the World Cup is not the only soccer we get to watch next season.
And to answer that question by Chulo074, he wasn't supposed to be the one to do it. He was trying to advertise it, but at the same time, it's SS&E does what SS&E wants. So do what you will with that information. I mean, at the bottom line, it's not what the coach can do; it's what they're allowing them to do.
Yeah, SS needs to focus on Big Red.
Exactly.
Final thoughts. Anybody got any final thoughts besides Happy Thanksgiving to everybody?
So final thought, high school season starts next Monday. I'll be on Wednesday with Coach Cano, first episode, new season of Inside Texas High School Soccer. And then I think we may have another episode on Friday too as well. And then Harry and I were already discussing our first episode for the Roundtable. No preseason rankings yet. Until maybe I'll start walking around my neighborhood and videotape and send it in. I'll probably do that. But I have something else different that I want to probably do differently than the preseason rankings before the games start. But it's a game starting, a couple weeks? I think we're going to be out there for AJ's game.
13th,
yeah, we'll be out there to watch them, cheer them on. And happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Be safe. Be safe out there. Don't eat too much turkey.
Well, let's not start a war there, Sam. Jackals suck, and they're not a real SG. That's my final thought. I'm not even touching that.
I'm not going to touch it because I already got in trouble enough times already.
And a shout out to Pancho V Army too for learning his drum.
Well, we're moving on.
I'm not saying nothing about that one, but I'll do my final thought real quick since I'm talking. Yes, it was a great experience for Pancho Villa to recognize the supporter groups for SanAntonio. We finally got to meet the SanAntonio chapter and found out they were just having struggle buses. So we got to know them. They're going to come out to the SAFC games when they can. So we'll have both AO and Pancho Villa now helping out the supporter groups. So that was a big win. As far as everything else, I do want to give condolences out to Joe Garcia for his over at Area 210. He did have a passing in the family. We recognized it this morning while I was watching, but just wanted to give him that prayers from us to them, being local podcast family is family. But other than that, to keep positive, there's new ideas coming out from the SGs. So I've already been talking with the front office. You're going to have a little bit of some stuff coming up in February, hopefully that we go through with it. But let's just wait and see what. Hopefully we go through with what the plan is.
Royce, any final thoughts? I guess not. So, do want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll probably have Coach or Jorge Castner tomorrow for
Michael George
tournament on wrestling. I am coaching about 21 students at pace. I will say, Northside, how the hell do you not have wrestling? Northeast does.
They have it in Bronzo.
I don't understand it, but this isn't a wrestling podcast for that here. I would do a wrestling podcast if we had one, if we had wrestling on the north side, but I don't understand why Northside doesn't have it, because there are boys and girls wrestling, and it's a missed opportunity for students to be able to participate and support their school and get athletic scholarships in wrestling. I even got offered a scholarship back in the day for wrestling back then. So, yay. Not that we need to know that, but what's life without goals? We're out of here. Please, everybody, be safe. Drink
Cheers.
your Jägermeister. And have a great time with family, friends for Thanksgiving. Don't do too much damage on Black Friday for here along those lines. And Rafa, safe travels back home. Matt, obviously safe travels to you. Royce, safe travels to Austin or wherever that you're going, since you tend to go to Austin quite a bit. Jonathan, I know your mom said gobble till you wobble. So hopefully you and the entire family eat a whole bunch of turkey and ham and all that stuff. Go ahead, Matt.
Real quick, and I should have remembered this. If y'all follow the SAFC fan page, pages where we post a lot of stuff, please go vote and see if we can do a FIFA draw party. Yeah, we're looking at that too. Forgot about that, but just throwing that out there.
Next Friday.
But what's life without goals? Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. We are out.